First of all, before we start, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Khiara Asriningtias and people know me as Kia Orara. I am an English education student from Widyagama Mahakam Samarinda University. For today, I'm going to tell you about foreign languages and how to apply them. Language is one of the most important aspects of humans. Based on the definition, language is a system of communication which uses to convey message and information through words. Hence, humans need language to share information and build relationship with other humans. As social creatures, humans were first communicating with the environment directly through their language. There are various ways to process the language that we receive, and it depends on people's interest, situation of learning, and language acquisition. The people's interest in receiving language is different, such as music, playing video games, reading books, watching television or films, using social media, and others. Learning is a process of taking the information, gaining knowledge, and expertise. And language acquisition is a process of human ability to acquire their first language or native in an unconscious way. There are questions that arising because the people were curious about foreign language. So, the questions: what is foreign language? Why do we have to acquire it? And how to acquire a foreign language? For the answers, that needs detailed explanation and solution to resolve the questions. According to Baker, Asita in Nufus and Yuliani in 2020, children naturally can use many languages in their instruction when they were born, because they are then ready to become bilinguals and multilingual. Bilinguals refer to people who can speak two languages effectively, while multilingual is a person who is able to speak three or more languages. For the first question, a foreign language is a native language from another country. For example, of foreign languages that the most common use are English, Japanese, Korean, Arabic, Chinese, and etc. For the second question, there are so many advantages to acquiring a foreign language, both in education and socially. When a person masters many languages, it will be easier to express the feelings or to gain information and communicate with foreign partners in real life. The language acquisition process can be acquired with general learning, comprehension abilities, and human interactions. Language acquisition can be learned through the strengthening of learning, imitation learning, association learning, or universal grammar. According to Park and Kim 2015, grammatical mapping (GM theory) is a theory of synthetic acquisition about universal grammar. According to the GM theory, every child has their universal grammar, and that consists of principles and parameters which is important to constructing a language. Naturally, children acquire their native language based on what they see, hear, and read. It can be learned in informal learning at school and in informal situations like daily activities. Sometimes they use the language without considering its rules. In addition, they also have the ability to imitate everything in their daily life. This term is referred as input. Innate ability is a characteristic that exists at birth in every organism. According to Freeman and Long, as cited in Novus and Giuliani 2020, to acquire language by the innate ability, it must be spurred to expose to language and environment feedback. Thus, as long as a child hears any language, they will learn it perfectly when they reach their adult age or critical period. Some research propose the theories of language acquisition, specifically imitation theory. When children focus on what they hear, see, read, and learn by positive statement when right and negative statement when wrong. Innate hypothesis. When humans are born to use language by a language acquisition device are area that cannot be accurately located in the brain. However, it's generally believed that it exists through the neurological network that has developed. Critical age hypothesis. The existence of a critical period through language acquisition as early as the age of 2 and ends around puberty, while a first period around 2 to 7 years old, according to Euphorics as cited in Novus and Giuliani 2020. According to the article How Do People Acquire Language, a case study on Khiara language acquisition to acquire language by innate ability, it must be environment feedback. Thus, as long as a child hears any language, they will learn it perfectly when they reach their critical period. Based on the article, I watched movie a look into how informal L2 learners acquire a new language in Indonesia, and according to Effendi 2016, the people who are interested in the Korean language cause a significant because in the sales of Korean language books by 40% in 2005. There are so many foreign languages that are used in other countries, but this time I will only explain 3 foreign languages acquisition: English, Korean, and Japanese, based on the people's interest and shadowing. Nowadays, it is very common to see or hear a lot of Korean words such as oppa, annyeonghaseyo, saranghaeo, and etc., which used by the people in their social media and from watching television or movies. Therefore, watching television or movies can be a device where coincidental language acquisition happens, especially for people who learn a language in informal situations. According to several fruits as cited in Prihartini and Hassan 2020, these learners will be exposed to a large amount of target language input in their daily lives and can take words in the target language and use them to communicate with their peers. This case is called or known as informal L2 learning or naturalistic L2 learning. These are some examples of Korean words which can be retrieved and categorized as follows. 1. Greeting. Hello, annyeonghaseyo. 2. Family. Mom. Oma. 3. Number. 1. Hana. 4. Interjection. Awesome. Deba. And etc. Moreover, there's also some example of English words that are retrieved from television or movies, namely interjection. Yikes. Adjective. Gorgeous. Common expression. I'm sick of you, and others. Some of the people say they know about Korean words through listening to K-pop songs, even though there are also those who say that when they watch drama, it is easier to understand the language. Since we mostly learn English on formal learnings at school, it can help us to understand at least a few words spoken by the characters on television or in movies. I personally believe all of you who watch this video know some English vocabulary because it has been taught to us and that is already stored in our minds. According to comments as cited in DENIT 2013, in English language acquisition, the speed in acquiring the language varies between stages and levels. To acquire fluency in superficial spoken English takes up to 2 years, and when acquiring academic English or full fluency, it takes up to 7 years. According to Hakuta, Butler, and Witt as cited in DENIT 2013, the research in the United States into the District of California even suggests that to develop oral proficiency needs 3 to 5 years, and to acquire academic English proficiency takes about 4 to 7 years. According to Upstats as cited in DENIT 2013, between individual language speakers, they have a different pattern of English fluency and the time that takes to acquire English fluency. To fully master the second language, it takes an average of 5 to 7 years. Although the speed at which individuals acquire this ability will vary. Spoken English usually takes 2 years to be fluent, but the ability to read, understand more complex texts containing unfamiliar cultural reference, and write the academic English required for test success takes longer. In addition to acquire a foreign language, we can see shadowing that has become popular in Japan as a teaching technique for listening skills. Shadowing is an effective way for lower proficiency learners to improve listening comprehension skills. Japanese people who learn English as a foreign language commonly have problems in listening comprehension. These problems are as follows. When listening, they are unable to recognize the target words or sentences, in spite of knowing the words or the sentences. This technique was used to train a beginner who needed to learn how to listen and speak concretely in their target language before trying to learn another language. According to Lambert, 1988, page 266, as cited in Hamada 2016, he defined shadowing as a rhythmic auditory tracking task which involves the immediate vocalization of auditory present stimuli based on pair style, which use word for word repetition in the same language. In contrast, recent application of shadowing have led to an improvement of learners' listening skills in the EFL context. However, shadowing in a foreign language has a disadvantage because it is unable to make full use of contextual information, whether it compared to shadowing in a first language. Moreover, the different terms of phonological system for from the two languages can make shadowing becomes even more difficult to be utilized. According to Nakayama 2011, Asitek in Hamada 2016, shadowing helps learners to listen to words they know and can read but cannot comprehend. Conversely, shadowing would be effective if the learners did not know the words in the first place. For countries such as Japanese, Chinese, and Korean that first language do not use the Roman alphabet, they have a problems in shadowing due to the different chronological systems of EFL. But compared to Swedish speakers, shadowing English is easier to understand because the same occurs of common linguistic features. In conclusion, acquiring a foreign language depends on what is your interest, the situation of learning, and language acquisition. Nevertheless, the important thing to remember while developing methods is to acquire your target language in an effective manner. For beginners, when you find the new words of your target language, try to list them and make sure the list you make distinguish between the most commonly used spoken words and written words. I also recommend you to try the shadowing technique. Simply, shadowing is only finding a video of native speakers speaking and mimicking everything about their speech. While shadowing, pay attention to pronunciation, cadence, accent, and intonation. You can also try to find shadow with the video that show the speaker's mouth. So from that, you can copy the speaker's mouth positioning. However, if you are a beginner, you don't have to attempt to shadow everything. For example, a beginner shadowing session of Japanese sentence like Tanaka-san wa sora wo mite imashita. Sora ni wa omoshiroi katachi no kumo ga arimashita. Tanaka-san was looking at the sky. In the sky, there was a funny shaped boat. Would be like Tanaka-san wa shita omoshiroi no arimashita. Insert, do not rush yourself to mimic everything. Hence, you'll mumble and that is not a good habit. Shadowing is super hard and challenging. So you must be attentive to your frustration level. For example, when you start shadowing and get frustrated because you feel tired and want to give up, it is okay to stop and pick it up again in the next day. Do not overload and attempt language learning into a chore or you will become more averse to doing language acquisition. The last one is record yourself because the record really does help you to reveal where your pronunciation is lacking. Okay, everyone, I think that's all I can say. More or less, thank you. I hope this video can help you to motivate those who want to acquire or improve their foreign language. So, see you in the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.